Hey everyone, this is Jason with Lakeview Mortgage Bankers. I wanted to welcome you all to another one of our podcasts. And today we are joined with my coworker, Craig Markowitz, managing partner, and as well as his realtor partner, Jen Tepper, with Signature Premier.
Hello.
How are you guys doing today?
We're good.
Good.
Glad to hear. I know in the past we've spoken before on our podcasts kind of about trends and market happenings and something new to the place. Today what we wanted to discuss a little bit is give the viewers and our listeners an inside scoop of things that are an advantage to them, meaning the relationship between us, the banker, and you, the realtor. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's a lot to talk about in that you guys can go off of how your relationship works well and how you guys click. So we can let the buyers know that that's something that they should look for on their team, that this is something that we offer that's an advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
So how long have you guys been working together?
I think we've been working together for
5 years?
4 or 5 years. Yeah, something like that.
Started slow. Then
We
it
were
picked up.
introduced from mutual friends in the neighborhood, and it started slow, one deal here, one deal there, and then the trust was built up and kind of just snowballed from there. I couldn't quantify how many deals we did have done a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely helpful. We've had like a lot of mortgage brokers approach us in the past. But Craig was one that was always available to help us with open houses. He was on the spot. Like anytime a buyer came in the door, he would give them his information, help them with pre-approvals. And then when people's needs change as they're looking for homes, and if they're pre-approved for 500 and they want a house that's 550, I'd be like, Craig, can you look at them again? Tell me if they, can come up a little bit. And he's always available at any time.
Accessibility.
So, yeah.
That's something that is extremely important in our business, because if you work 9 to 5, you're going to be swallowed. In my business anyway, you're going to, and I would assume yours as well. You just get swallowed up.
Yeah.
And you have to be as accessible as possible.
And time is of the essence.
Always.
Especially during COVID times when we were running around like crazy and houses were flying. If I couldn't get an answer right away from another person, I mean, it would kill a deal.
Yeah.
So we
Speed.
really rely on that. Mm-hmm.
Reliability.
And like you said, too, the availability, because we talk about all the time when we've done other podcasts about us as a bank being available. We like to label ourselves as bankers because we are, but then the most famous thing that we like to say is we don't work bankers' hours. If we work 9 to 5, we wouldn't have a lot to talk about, especially in your business, because most of your business probably doesn't take place 9 to 5, at least Monday through Friday.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that I know that we do, making ourselves available and accessible on the weekends, because that's when you're doing most of the open houses and most of the clients are going out to look.
Exactly. Most people always say like, oh, I'm there to help you, I'm a phone call away, but nobody really shows up the way he has. And that's why we continue to use him, year after year, and we've been very successful at that too.
That's good to hear.
We're getting good answers,
Craig.
and he's closed
Thanks,
every deal
Jason.
we've had, so that's what matters at the end of the day.
That's all that matters. None have fallen through.
They have
which
not
is very
fallen
good.
through. Yes.
Because nobody makes money at that point. And the clients walk away unhappy and unsatisfied. You lose a client, I lose a client, and nobody's happy at that point.
And how does that relationship work to have people come back to you? Have you seen that they know that you took care of them, like say on the first time around, so I'm going to come back to you guys, you and your partner, because I know that if it's my family or my coworkers, that you are my, not guy, my woman or my girl, and you're my guy for the financing. So you now become part of them, part of the group.
Having just a team of people around you to make your deals happen is so important, whether it's an attorney that you like using or a couple of different people you could rely on in that way, because they're also very meaningful in a transaction, having a reliable mortgage broker, having just everybody involved, the inspector that you're going to use.
Right.
I mean, we have people that we trust like for every transaction at this point. So people know that we're going to get it done for them, and we're going to get it done well, and we're not trying to like play any games.
Right.
There's unfortunately a lot of people in the industry that cut a lot of corners. We're not trying to do that. I want people to come back to me and refer me, and I want to do a good job for them. That way they come back if they want to upgrade in 5 years or 10 years, or if they have a parent selling. We've actually had a lot of, repeat customers in such a short time. Which
That's
is
how
nice.
we get thanked in the business,
Yeah.
no doubt. The referrals is what it's all about.
Children, grandchildren, relatives, they all come back. And one of the best things about Jen and Andrea's not here at the moment, but they always price their listings right. It's not like the houses stay on the market forever, right? If client wants more, Jen and Andrea do what they need to do to explain to them where they need to be at the market now.
Yeah.
Because rates are up. If rates come down, it's more attractive. And, with rates coming down these days, it's going to make a lot of the houses more attractable to people to buy.
Right. So do you guys have any good recent success stories that you want to share with everybody today? Something that's happened, or maybe good or bad, that's happened recently?
Thankfully, there's not much bad. Jen came to me with a client from Florida that was looking to move back, ironically, which doesn't really happen. So her and her fiance were looking to buy a house on Long Island. I actually used a Florida real estate agent to help them rent their unit down there while they were looking for a house up here. And we ultimately got the deal closed. I mean, it was fast. I think it was 2 months. Mm-hmm. And that's one that just happened.
And there's definitely creative ways, especially with the high interest rates, that you've been able to help clients too with different programs that are available.
Yeah, well, when they need a certain payment and a certain rate and a certain program, then that's what we'll put them in. Whether it's FHA or conventional, they need a jumbo arm, let's just say. They're doing a jumbo mortgage, and the arm's the only thing that makes sense. Then the adjustable rate mortgage is what they get for 7 years, and hopefully we have the rates come down after that, and they can refinance.
They had a seller's concession too. We were able to work that out, which is nice because that wasn't happening for a long time.
And that's certainly not something easy to get.
No,
and it was a 2-1 buy down.
So you're throwing it all in there.
Yeah.
You're throwing it all in there.
It was very good.
It's a new program where you qualify at the qualifying rate, but the first year the rate is 2% less, and the second year the rate is 1% less. So you have a 3-year window to which to refinance where you're not going to be paying the 6.5 in this case rate. You're paying 4.5, then 5.5, and then we can talk about refinancing in a couple of years.
And I think everything that you guys are talking about and bringing up is exactly what we want everybody who's listening and watching to hear, which is the teamwork and the trust factors and the working together. Because in those relationships that we've all seen, they always don't go so easy. No. And when the two parties don't know each other or they're not familiar with how they work, there's a lot of headbutting sometimes, or there's not always the same, or you're feeling comfortable that you know that he's got your back, or like you said earlier, you know that the pre-approval is valid. There's nothing to worry about with the numbers. You know that everything's on. You know he's going to be accessible. Mm-hmm. You know he's available for the clients. You know that there's a trust with the clients. So all of those things come into play, which is the main focus of why we wanted to have you guys on to discuss the benefits, to the buyer of what we offer, as a bank and as a partnership. I think it's extremely important for them to understand that. That's why we wanted to let them get the inside scoop of how you guys do things.
I mean, everything we do is directly correlated. So even like when it was 3% interest rates, but people were paying $50,000 to $100,000 over asking price, now you're looking at more of 6%-ish, more or less.
I mean,
but people aren't paying over asking anymore. I mean, it's kind of like people are paying list price or maybe even a little under list price. So how do you feel like that is actually a good thing for buyers right now?
Well, I think the flexibility to be able to get into any different program is very important for all buyers, wouldn't you say? I mean,
yeah, and I think the competitive nature, though, when the craziness like you saw before, when people were going in with ridiculous numbers, because unfortunately when we were involved as the bank, it made things very difficult. Mm-hmm. If you had people who were coming down with small down payments, they weren't going to be able to absorb that difference.
Mm-hmm. In the appraised value.
Correct.
Right.
Well, that's why we're talking about it, saying, overpaying for these homes. So the competition is somewhat slowed down a little bit, made it somewhat, I guess, normal again, right?
More reasonable. It's
more
reasonable.
Reasonable. That's the right word.
We never needed to really worry about appraised values 2-3 years ago, right? Now we have to worry about appraised values.
Well, people would come in and under, if you had a listing price of $659, they'd come in at $580.
Right.
But now people coming in and they want to go 30, 40 over.
You have to make sure, and that's our job,
right,
to make sure these clients and these buyers have the money in the bank to offset it if, in fact, the appraisal doesn't come in. Because they're going to be beholden to that offer that they put out there.
Right.
And if they don't have the difference, then that deal falls through, which we have never had happen.
Yes, we have not.
That's really where the relationship between Jen and I and Andrea come in, where I can tell them and explain to them where the client needs to be in terms of a payment and how much money they have and what they're working with.
And also a benefit I think would be good for you is if you know that you have a buyer that really loves a home, right? But you know that they're in a competitive market.
Right.
But you want to ask Craig now, listen, we need to go above asking. how much room do they really have?
Right.
That's important to talk to him about that too, because then this way it makes your life a little easier, because you obviously want to give an offer that's going to be accepted.
Right.
Right? We don't want them to be rejected. We all want the same, because ultimately we all need to get to the closing table for our jobs to be completed.
For sure. And
Right?
there was a lot of times when there was crazy bidding wars and they had 25 offers on the table that the agent, when I was trying to sell my client's offer to them, they'd be like, who's the mortgage lender, and have you worked with them before? And I'm like, he will answer the phone and answer any questions you have
Right.
if you're vetting these offers to make you comfortable.
Right.
As long as the client's okay with them speaking, he's not going to give anything confidential,
Of course.
obviously, but he would get on the phone and talk to the listing agent and try to sell that buyer for us.
And that helps sell the
And
deal
that, of
for
course,
you, right?
because
That's
then
a-
they know that
a great thing,
Hey, we're talking.
confidentiality.
Yeah, we're talking to the agents. We're talking to the lenders. Everything is with permission of the client, obviously, but it's going to help. It's going to help them have confidence.
Talk about that.
And the reason that you have to ask me is because you don't get into their financials. You ask for proof of funds up front, obviously, but you don't know exactly what they have. That's my job, right? And so it becomes a sticky situation when you sometimes deal with friends and family, where sometimes family doesn't want you to know what they make a year. And I have to express to everybody involved, friends, family, and whatnot, that everything with me is confidential. If my neighbor does a loan with me, our other neighbor would not know. My wife doesn't know. There's no reason for anybody to know anybody's personal information except for me.
Right.
It stays within our four walls. So, I know you have moved to a new company, right? And how to get people to go with you, right? And friends sometimes feel iffy about using friends.
Sure.
But they should never feel iffy about using you, because you don't get into their finances.
I do not.
And that's the only tricky spot, and that's my job.
Right. So I think that was something that happened recently. I heard about a friend who used another realtor, and I was like, that's a shame, because she's like, I know you do a great job, but unfortunately I didn't want you to take a deep dive into my finances. And I'm like, I'm not taking any deep dives into anyone's finances. I'm like, I talked to my mortgage lender, or whoever your mortgage lender is, if you have one that you're stuck with, but they're going to give me the proof of funds or pre-approvals, pre-quals. I just need to know how much you want to spend on a house.
Right.
I just want to know, what the purchase price is. I want to make sure the mortgage lender has let me know that that's okay, and your down payment. That's all I
And
need.
then that lends into me saying to the client, what can you afford to pay and what can you qualify for? They are two different numbers, as you know, and as you know. Some people may be shopping with champagne taste, but they can only afford, beer money, right? And beer taste. It doesn't, you have to
There's nothing wrong with
marry
beer,
the two.
Craig.
No, I love beer.
Beer's good.
You have to marry the two. What they want, what they can afford, and what they're going to ultimately want to buy. Right?
Right.
I have that now. Guy has plenty of money, just doesn't want to spend it all. He's going to buy what he wants to buy in a neighborhood he wants to be in.
Right.
And that all still goes back to the comfortability between you two with the relationship, though, which, again, if you guys were just now brought together because of the mutual buyer,
We'd
but
have
had
to
no
learn
relationship, right, you'd have to build the trust. So the nice thing, again, which I keep saying, we want everybody to understand, this is a benefit. This is something that you have to take advantage of, because if let's say I was the banker and I'm working with Jen, and I only met Jen because my buyer went out and found her in an open house. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know that this pre-approval that I give to her is worth anything, because unfortunately a lot of pre-approvals that you've seen before are garbage.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do with them, because the lender, not like us, hasn't done the homework to find out that Craig is able to be approved for X amount of dollars. They just say, well, this is a new realtor. I want to impress you. You say you're taking your buyer out to look at a $650,000 house. Done.
Yeah.
Sold.
And
But
I don't want to waste my time
Of
taking
course
people
not.
around if they can't afford it, because that
Right.
would
Nothing
be really
And
worse-
I don't want to
The worst
waste your
case,
time,
yeah.
because then our relationship gets strained, regardless of whether we've become good friends or not.
Right.
You don't want anybody's time wasted.
And you wouldn't have still been here at this point in your relationship had you done that, where everybody's ripping up the
I
pre-approvals
wouldn't
that
be
you're
in the
providing,
business anymore.
or
Jay.
working with Jen anymore either, because she wouldn't want to
Yeah.
talk about promoting business
Right,
together.
exactly.
Right?
So.
Well, even on the listing side of things, if I've had people bring their buyers and they have a pre-approval and I don't know this mortgage lender and I've never worked with them, I'll say, is it okay if you talk to my mortgage guy just to make sure, he looks over your financials and I'm
Right.
comfortable with you, because I've never done a deal with this company. I don't want it falling through 2 months in when you're under contract and now I have to relist it and the market's changed. I mean, there's a lot at stake.
It's always good, and this is back to the whole relationship thing. You have a lender and a realtor and a title company and an attorney all working together to bring the deal to the table in the time frame that it needs to be done.
Right. That's it. And we talk about that all the time, the one-stop shopping and what we do here. Everything underneath one roof. Obviously, you're not underneath our roof, but you're underneath our umbrella, and you're underneath our kind of, connection, being that we have the relationship together, or, with Craig, with you, or us with our other realtors. So that's extremely important. I think that was the most important thing, what we wanted to get across today on the podcast, is make sure everybody understood that and realized, this is a plus that we can offer to you.
It's a quick moving world and a quick moving business, and the more people you have working together, the better for everybody.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, I hope today was informative for everyone. We gave you guys some good insights, and you now realize that when you do have the opportunity to come to do business with Lakeview Mortgage, that whether it's with Craig and Jen or whoever it may be with, that we always have our relationships tight, and we always have you, the buyers, best interests at heart. So hopefully we did a good job today of making you guys feel comfortable.
Yes.
Thanks for coming today.
And if you're looking for a home, call Jen at Signature
Yes.
Properties.
The Tepper Kaplan team at Signature Premier Properties. Check
Thanks
us
for
out.
coming in today.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.